Hi everyone, welcome back. My name's Tisdale. I'm a part-time reseller on places like eBay and Poshmark, and today is What Sold Wednesday. The dates that we'll be going over this week are Monday, July 17th through Sunday, July 23rd. I had a total of 16 sales this past week, and 6 of those were from eBay and 10 were from Poshmark. Poshmark definitely did the heavy lifting, not only in quantity, but total sales as well. So let's go ahead and jump into those. Kicking us off on Monday, July 17th, I had 4 sales, and 2 of those were from eBay and 2 were from Poshmark. The first item that sold for me on eBay was a very familiar item. If you've been following me for a while, we know it, we love it. It's the smart home key fobs that I've been selling for a couple years now, just kind of sporadically. I will say they've been picking up for the past couple months, and I keep saying it, but I'm very close to being out. I think I only have 4 left. But I picked these up for a total of like $215, $214 a piece, and they sell pretty consistently. This one sold for $84.99. And the next item that sold for me on eBay were these Masuk just basic black trousers, or basic black pant. I've had these for 576 days, so far too long. I do not generally pick up Masuk anymore. It tends to sit for a really long time, especially these more basic pieces. Back in the day, I would say they went for a lot more and went a lot faster. And then on Poshmark, the first item that sold for me was this Most of All is the brand Darla sweater. I got a couple of these in a case that I bought, I guess about 343 days ago, because that's how long it took to sell. But I've had these for a while. I had never heard of the brand. I probably would not pick this brand up myself. I just happened to get them in a case that had a bunch of other brands in it. So I did pick these up for about $5.66, and it sold for $19. And then the last item that sold for me on Poshmark was this Super Down red tie-dye sweater, which is funny because I think a couple weeks ago when a Super Down white dress sold, I had mentioned that Super Down is kind of hit or miss, and I had this other Super Down sweater that's been sitting for a while. Well, this is the sweater I was talking about. It did take 243 days to sell, so like I mentioned in the video a couple weeks ago, whenever that was, this one set for much longer than that dress had set. I picked this one up for $7.29, and it was new with tags, so I would definitely still pick this same sweater up for $7.29, and it sold for $30. And then on Tuesday, July 18th, I had 2 sales, and one was on eBay and one was on Poshmark. The item that sold for me on eBay was this City Chic blue floral dress. It was just a wrap dress. I was really hesitant to pick this up. I just picked it up a couple weeks ago, so I haven't had it for very long, and I was really hesitant to pick it up because I wasn't sure how this style would do, and I haven't picked up too much City Chic. I think I have one other dress that I've picked up and it's still sitting, so I knew it did well for other resellers, but I hadn't had great luck with it in the past. But glad I did pick it up because it sold within 19 days. I picked it up for only $6.29, and it sold for $36. And then the item that sold for me on Poshmark were these Good American jeans. I believe they were heavily distressed, if I'm remembering correctly. And Good American definitely has not been performing like it did previously. And I was actually surprised to see these go for as much as they did. They did take 122 days to sell. I did pick them up for only $5.88. And they sold for my full asking price of $59, which again was kind of surprising to me. I feel like Good American's been selling a little bit lower, around the $40, $45 range. So I would still pick up Good American. I just would continue to check the comps because they seem to be declining just a little bit for the most part. And as long as, I picked them up for a good cost, I would still continue to do so. Moving on to Wednesday, July 19th, I had 3 sales, and they were all on Poshmark. The first item that sold for me was this Travis Matthew light blue polo. Travis Matthew is a golf wear brand that sells pretty consistently. It's a pretty good bread and butter. Some pieces don't sell quite as fast as others. This one has been sitting for quite some time. Some pieces don't sell as fast as others. This one has been sitting for about 269 days, but it's still a really good bread and butter brand for me, so I will continue to pick it up. This one I did pick up for only $2.18 and it sold for $20. The next item to sell is a brand that I had never found in a thrift store before, and I had higher hopes for it. But I suppose it's more of a basic style, so maybe that's why, or maybe it's just not as popular anymore. I'm not really sure because I haven't, again, found it in the thrift store or found it anywhere else to really have enough data to say. But let me know if it's still selling for you. And that brand is Gal Meets Glam. The one that I sold is this kind of basic navy blue dress. It took 287 days to sell. I thought it would go a little bit faster. And I did pick it up for $11.21 and it sold for $70, which isn't a terrible return. I did think it was gonna go for a little bit more, but again, it may just be because the style is a little more basic than some of their other pieces. But let me know, do you guys sell this brand a lot? Is it still selling consistently for you? Or is it kind of one of those brands that are kind of falling off a little bit right now? The last item that I sold on this day is a brand I had never heard of before, and it was pretty unique, so I probably would have checked it at the thrift store. It is this Trip NYC kind of like utilitarian jacket. It gives me like Hot Topic or Dolls Kill vibes, and it was really long, and you could tell it was good quality or it was a good item because on every single like metal piece, even the little like loops on the front, it said Trip. So I had never heard of this brand. Maybe just me and you guys have heard of it, but so glad that I learned this brand because I will definitely be on the lookout in the future. And if you saw my recent video that I just posted on Monday, it is in that lot of the 200 items that I bought. I haven't shown this item yet because this first part 1 video that I posted is kind of just all the bags, but you'll see it in the consecutive different parts that come in the future. So this item sold in only 7 days, which is great because generally higher price items don't sell as quickly for me as, you know, like the lower bread and butter brands. I did pick this one up for $13.54 once you kind of divide all of the items that I got in this specific case. So what I did was buy a bunch of different cases, and technically they all have different costs associated with them. This was in a more premium box, so it is a little bit higher of a price point. But once I take all 200 items and divide it by my total cost, I think it was like less than $4 or around the $4 range. But specifically to this box, I paid $13.54 for this item. It sold for $126, which is great. I think I had it priced a little bit higher, but when someone sent an offer for $126, I just accepted as fast as I could because I didn't want to be stuck in the situation that I have in the past where, you know, a couple days after I list something, someone sends an offer and I decide to wait to get, you know, the full price or a better price, and then no one ever sends an offer again. So completely happy to get the $126 for this item. And then on Thursday and Friday, both were donut days. But that's okay. Moving on to Saturday, July 22nd, I had 4 sales, and again, 2 were on eBay and 2 were on Poshmark. The first item to sell for me on eBay was this Disney sweater. It was just like a red, I can't remember if it was an oversized sweater, but a really cute, vivid red sweater. And then it had like the Mickey hands with rainbow hearts, which was super, super cute. I thought this was gonna go a lot faster than it did, but it took 452 days to sell, so almost an entire year. I did pick it up for $7.19, and it sold for $26.65. And then the last item to sell for me on eBay this day was this Thrills is the brand, I think, and it was just a long sleeve tie-dye crop shirt. I think I had bought this with the intention of maybe keeping it, but didn't like it on myself, so I listed it. This is not an item that I would generally pick up or would pick up to resell. It did take 507 days to sell, so this is not one to be on the lookout for. I picked it up for $2.64, and it sold for $11.99. The first item that sold for me on Poshmark were these Athleta green, I think they were called the Trekkie joggers, and they were like a military green or olive green color. These did take 263 days to sell. Athleta definitely seems to be very like hit or miss. For sure, the newer pieces sell a lot faster and a lot better. But some pieces like this I thought were kind of a good staple, and they still took a little bit more time than I thought to sell, but I will still continue to pick up Athleta. And these I picked up for $7.19, and they sold for $39. And then last item that sold for me on Poshmark this day was this Spirit jersey. It was FSU or Florida State Seminoles. It was tie-dye and a little oversized, and it had like the embroidery on the back. I thought this would do a lot better, but it did take 178 days to sell, which isn't too bad. I did pay up a little bit at $16.48 for it. And it only sold for $40, which is a little bit less than I thought this would go for, just because it seemed, I know I say the word substantial a lot, but this brand can do pretty well in certain pieces, especially their Disney pieces. But this one I thought was a little bit more unique, and it was a pretty known college football team. So I thought it would do a little bit better, but $40 isn't bad. It's just not exactly what I was expecting. And then on Sunday, July 23rd, I had 3 sales. 1 was on eBay and 2 was on Poshmark. The item that sold for me on eBay was this vintage faux tortoise shell cuff bracelet. I got this in a lot of jewelry that I bought a couple months ago. Just kind of testing, playing around with jewelry, because ideally it'd be a great type of item to sell because some of it can go for good money and it's very easy to store and ship. However, it is not exactly in my wheelhouse yet as far as looking at and being able to tell if it's worth anything. So it is a category I'm still learning. So this one did take 149 days to sell. I picked it up for only $1.22 once you kind of divide out the whole lot of jewelry. I think I bought like 5 pounds, which not all of it was worth anything or worth listing, at least that I could tell. And it sold for only $10.75. And the first item to sell for me on Poshmark was this Agent Provocateur. I think I am saying that right. It was a new tag item. I picked up kind of 1 each of these items months ago, I guess about 300 days ago, just to kind of test this brand. I've never sold it before, so it does take quite some time to sell. I think I have another piece, completely different type of item, but the same brand. And they've kind of trickled within those 300 days to sell. They sell for good money. It just takes some time. So I still would pick it up, but just know that if you do find it and you're trying to get a good price for it, it's going to take some time to sell. And I did pay up for it at $24.27, but it did sell for $160. So again, I would still pick it up at that price. And the last item that sold for me last week was another item from that 200 item case lot that I bought. And it was a very basic bread and butter Adidas Pure Motion golf tee or golf polo. It was this really pretty blue. So I knew it would sell. I just didn't think it would sell this fast. It sold within like 24 hours of me listing it. So this piece I only paid $2.69 for, and it sold for $17, which is not a lot, but again, within 24 hours, it's an easy bread and butter brand. I knew Nike golf items did well. I don't think I've really sold Adidas items, and if I had, they were probably more in the men's category, but golf items seem to sell pretty well in general. And me being in San Diego, there's a lot of golfing places around here and tournaments and things, so I do come across the brands pretty frequently, and it's probably something I should start paying attention to. I think that's something that we should all kind of be doing, is looking within our general area of where we live and what kind of items we see all the time that we can, start picking up more that you wouldn't be able to pick up somewhere else. Like, if I lived in Texas, maybe I came across more cowboy boots, then I would obviously come across here in San Diego. And that could be something that I could start picking up and really utilizing as far as my sales. So I think that golf stuff is going to be something that I try to pay attention to going forward. All right, and for all 16 items, my total sales was $778.12, which is great. It's a great improvement from last week. And what I meant by Poshmark kind of carrying the weight, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is that only $198.12 were from eBay and $580 were from Poshmark. So Poshmark definitely did the heavy lifting last week. I don't know if something's going on with eBay. I definitely have been listing more frequently and continuing to do markdowns and relisting or delisting, whatever you want to call it. But after fees and shipping and cost of goods are taken out, my total is $475.19. So I'm definitely ecstatic to see that my sales are increasing. We've been putting a lot of time and effort into trying to grow the business, and it's really just a great feeling to see it starting to pay off. But that wraps up this week of What Sold Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you do like these types of videos, please hit the thumbs up. So it kind of just lets me know that this video is doing really well, or that people like seeing this type of content. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Some pieces don't sell quite as fast as Yes. Some pieces don't sell for, no, stop saying that. Some people, why? Okay. Some pieces